All right, everybody, welcome to the King's Capital. Hope you all had a great trading week. I'm gonna do a little market recap over here. Thankful to be here, y'all. We're just seeking to be faithful stewards of what the Lord has given us. You know, what we want to do is through trading build some generational wealth. Proverbs tells us that a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children, and that's certainly what I intend to do on this journey through trading. You know, it's got its ups, its downs. I'm not perfect. You know, some weeks are great, some weeks I'm giving money back, but we're gonna stick with this and be faithful to the gifts that we have here. So again, welcome to the King's Capital. We're gonna run through DXY, EURUSD, GU, UJ, some NAS 100, and we're gonna follow it up with some cryptocurrency. Currently in view right now is DXY, and it looks a little mixed, guys, honestly. This week coming in, I think we were looking for probably a pullback on the dollar, and instead it just continued to press on. So, you know, we rejected this order block, and now we have pushed up. So if we start trading above this level, okay, then we're looking for, you know, dollar strength coming in to the next week or two. We do have this imbalance right here on this candle, as well as there's a daily order block that does line up with the bearish 78.6. Obviously I have this larger bullish fib, and I think this is based off the monthly. Let me back out and check it. It's not even showing up on the monthly. There we go. Yeah. So that is kind of a monthly fib, big long-term, right? Pushed up. This monthly dollar is still bullish. So again, we're bearish on the weekly, bullish on the monthly. We have not closed below this. This is kind of a, you know, just kind of a consolidating at the moment. But we did kind of tap into this imbalance here on the monthly and reject it. So, plus I think we might have some bullish news coming into the dollar this week, assuming everything pans out. But we could see some strength coming into the dollar. I'm not going to guarantee it, but I'm going to be very careful around that, you know, that bias, because currently, I mean, the weekly order flow is still bearish, right? Low, high, lower, low, lower, high, lower, low, and until we break the previous high, the high or the area that caused the impulse to the low side that broke this low, right? Until we shift that order flow, well, we're bearish on the dollar, right? So that's where we're looking. Let's jump over to EURUSD real quick. On the weekly, we're still bullish on the weekly with the euro. The monthly, again, it's gonna basically be the inverse of DXY in a lot of ways. Wow, this is looking messy. But hopefully you understand what's going on here, right? The monthly actually is bearish. We pulled up into this little, I think it, you know, some would call it a breaker block. It's, you know, whatever. It's the last green candle before the impulse that broke this low right here. So call it whatever you want, right? Breaker block, whatever. I'm going to call it a supply zone. I like that language better. Demand, supply. That makes more sense to me. I just know there's a lot of people out there that use, like, you know, order block, breaker block, etc. Cool, man. Check it. We pulled up in here. We rejected. So hypothetically, we are looking at probably a bigger bearish turnaround in euro. But again, I'm going to be watching closely. That's the monthly, though. So who knows how long it's going to take for something like that to play out. I want to know what's going to affect us day to day, week to week, right? So normally I'm in and out of a trade within a day or so, a couple days. So I want to know what's going to affect me on the shorter term, right? Having that higher term narrative in mind, we always want our lower time frame narratives to sit within the higher time frame narrative, right? That will give us the best odds at a successful trade, right? I'm not always looking to short something that's bullish, right? I don't want to play both sides all the time. If it's clear, I'll go ahead and play it, but things got to line up. But our order flow in the weekly is bullish, right? High, low, higher, high, higher, low, higher, high. And this is our protected low right here, right? Why? Because on this chart, this is the low that led to us breaking the previous high. So our order flow is still bullish. 3-day, yeah. And we're kind of at, honestly, I think we are at a bit of a pivotal point for EURUSD. Let's see what kind of news we got coming in. Retail sales, Michigan PPI month over month. That's going to be a big one for the dollar this week. We're going to be watching that. It's forecast to be slightly higher. Now, if you don't know what the PPI is, it stands for the U.S. Producer Price Index month over month, and it tracks the percent change in the producer price. So it measures the average change in prices received by domestic producers for their output and can be used as a gauge for how much pricing power producers have. It's often used in conjunction with the CPI, which just came out, to understand how prices are changing in the U.S. economy. A change in PPI often anticipates a change in CPI. All right, so what this means, though, is if we do get this higher number, that is bullish for the dollar, right? If it is at forecast or lower, well, oh, wait, no, that was actual. Oh, I missed it. That was this last week. My apologies, right? So that was actually our bullish news for the dollar. I'm a little off on that. Forgive me. And so now what's going on is we are sitting in a range, a little bit of a range right here. Let's check this actually real quick. We got sentiment, we got PPI. That was, oh, that came out yesterday. Yeah, that was Friday. That's right. Cool. Which was bullish for the dollar, which 100% makes sense. Okay, you know, while we're at this, let's go ahead and do this trade review real quick, because I was just looking at that going, I got a little turned around on my news there for a second, but let's review this trade and then let's dig into what we got going on this week. But so for this week, here's where I messed up, y'all. I had a great trade on the euro, but it was boring, honestly. The start of the week kind of just, it wasn't doing a whole lot, right? It's kind of just trickling up, nothing impulsive. Obviously, big sells came and then big sell on Friday, but here's what I was looking at. We came back into this fair value gap area right here that's marked out in blue. Swept this liquidity and kind of came into this order block or this demand zone, which we can mark out right here. All right, we came into this demand zone, and what I was looking for was price to push up and have a shift in market structure. That's what we're always looking for. So I think I had it on the lower time frame here. Yeah, I don't know what that one is actually. I don't think that was a trade. I think it was just an idea. This was the trade I was looking for, though. Right here. Right? So we had this. Here was our last high before the low was broken. Pushed up, equal highs. Pushed up again and closed over. Came back down. Right? Came back down into our zone. Right here. Pushed up. Came back down. I got in. I went long. And the price just kind of moved sideways. And so I was looking at this going, well, that's pretty boring. I didn't love the price action. It really wasn't being impulsive. It gave me hope right there and then just kind of chopped sideways. And so I closed it, right? I closed it. Why is that a bummer? Right, because this trade would have played out, right? What did I have this at? A 1.4, or rather 4.8 R. So, and it even went higher, right? This would have been one of those things where I leave like 10% or something like that to run. We could have targeted up here, these highs. This is obviously a good level to target as well. But guys, I jumped out of this trade for a few reasons. A, because I was bored. B, because I was afraid to lose money on it, right? I got afraid. And that's one of those things that fear and greed are like the biggest emotions that any of us have in trading, right? And so you have to ask yourself, when you put on a trade, are you actually willing to lose what you've risked? I don't think I was actually willing to lose what I risked, which isn't much. It was 0.5%. Like, I'm not risking a whole 1% right now. I'm only risking 0.5%. So this is where even great traders, and I'm not calling myself a great trader, but I know I've heard stories from great traders that even they do this kind of stuff, but this is one of those things that we have to conquer. When we put on a trade, are we actually willing to lose that amount? Had I, and I didn't take a loss. I took a tiny profit somewhere in here. It was like probably 0.5%. Honestly, it was probably like, that was probably it. It wasn't anything, but it was one of those things where you're like, well, it's not looking good. I'll probably get stopped out. So I'm just going to take a little bit of money. And I sacrificed this much larger trade just to take a short-term profit. Something I got to work on. Something that I'm confessing. Y'all are hearing me out right now. I got to work on not being afraid to lose that money. At worst, and when I saw it push down, I remember thinking at one point, I think it came down really close to my stop, and I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna take that money, right? Because I was afraid. You know what? I mean, at the very least, I could have just moved my stop to break even, and then see what happens. That way, I didn't lose any money. I didn't make any money, but I didn't lose any money. Even if I had done that, look, dude, it respected my level well. Wow, I'm saying dude. I'm sorry about that, y'all. It respected my level well. So, and then continued on. that would have been a better way to manage this trade. So it was just, fear and bad trade management. Something that we all have to work on, something I'm making a video about. Even, just talking about this right now is going to help keep me accountable in the future, knowing that, I'm going to have to review these trades and post them for you all to see. Some of the benefit is I look at it and go like, yeah, that was a really good trade. In hindsight, it's 2020, but let's move on from there. Y'all get the idea. Listen, when you put on that trade, make sure you're willing to risk whatever it is you're going to risk, right? Here's a trade I lost this week. Right idea, right? Right idea. Looking long on euro, right? My again, because why? Because my bias is still long on euro. The market had given us reason to be long as well. We came in, we tapped this demand zone right here, pushed up, and then at one point I got in. Let's try and find our times too, because I am trading New York session, so I'm usually in. Yeah, so here's what I liked, right? Here we are on the 15, boom, boom, boom. We pushed up, and it's one of those things where you got to look at the higher time frames too, because sometimes what looks good on this 15-minute is very ugly on the higher time frame. So on the 30-minute, you saw all those wicks to the upside, and that's essentially what this was. So when I saw this impulse, I went ahead and placed my order. See the top of this little demand zone right here? Impulse, correction, and then I was looking for that impulse again. And instead, it just kind of stopped me out quickly. So minus 0.5% on that one. Part of the reason I'm, risking only 0.5% is just stay in the game longer, because you're going to go through seasons where you're just not winning as much. So manage your risk well. Okay, and so here's one more trade I took, rather tried to take this week. I didn't even bother taking this one. I saw it, but I don't know. I was looking for a higher retrace up into this supply zone. So this is one that I saw though, and we just didn't get it right. Here's our high. We broke the low. Couldn't go higher. We broke it one more time, right? So here we have our break of structure. Let's go ahead and mark that out. And you can mark it out however you want. Like if you're going, I've seen a lot of SMC guys even go with the wicks. I do like body closes, right? So I like to see that body close below. So we had this failed high, low, and then what I was looking for was price to come up into, let me get rid of that, and let's actually mark this guy out. Let's go ahead and give him that BOS, break of structure. Cool. And I was looking for this right here. I wanted to see price come back up, fill this, right? 1, 2, 3 candles here, and in between that, right, there are no wicks, so we have a fair value gap. Price did come up, it did kind of fill that gap, but it didn't tap into my demand or my supply zone right there. I had an order pending, we just didn't get hit. Honestly, this stop loss could have been lower even there, which would have potentially given me a better R had price come up and touched it, but unfortunately it did not, only to see price rally without me. So what are things I could have done? Nobody's a fan of chasing price. It's something you always hear in the market. Don't chase price, right? What could I have done? Well, hypothetically, did we get a close below there? A very minor close? Yeah, we got a very minor close right here. This candle closed below this low right there. So a very minor close. What we could have done is, okay, all right, here's our order flow right now. We missed that one, order flow. We closed below. Price pushed up into now this little supply zone, which actually gives you a better stop loss. And so that was another trade. But it's when there's this thing that happens where you're like, this is your order, it's set, and you're watching it and it doesn't get hit. And then instead of adjusting to that, you just kind of watch it leave without you. So again, I know there's a lot of traders that go, listen, don't chase price. This is one of those scenarios where I look at it and go like, might have been wise to chase price right there, right? It gave me, how many chances did it give me? One, gave me 2 chances to get into this. So just something to be mindful of, traders, as you're out there and you're trying to figure out, what you're doing. But we're always looking for those breaks of structure. And it's always time plus price, right? So if we're coming into New York session right here, here's NYSE open. Price pushed up at the beginning and then immediately broke structure. So we know there's liquidity in the market, right? So it's going to be time plus price. So New NYSE open, liquidity, price, breaking structure, coming back up to fill in those fair value gaps, and then dropping lower. So cool. All that to say, we had some rough times with Euro USD this week. Really great entry, and then just managed it poorly. So what are we looking for coming into this week, guys? So let me go ahead and delete all this stuff. I don't need it anymore. It's not relevant. Because we've had bullish news on the dollar, retail sales supposed to be higher. That could be bullish for the dollar, right? Because if retail sales are higher, then that means there's continued demand on the market, which means we're likely in for another rate increase. Building permits higher. Okay. The FOMC minutes are going to be interesting this week, and this will be it for me talking about the news. But I have heard that there are definitely some chair members that are hawkish, some that are more dovish, so it's a little mixed. So it'll be interesting to see what the FOMC minutes are, because it could signal what is coming up as far as rate hikes go. So something to be wary of, but that's not until the 16th, which is, let me check the calendar. The 16th is Wednesday. All right, so we'll see what happens Wednesday. But until then, my expectation for Euro USD, and here's our trade setup, right? If we can get a swing low right here, I would expect a push up into this supply zone with further downside. That's what I'm expecting. There's not really, I mean, there's a tiny little gap in the market right there, but that would be my expectation. We're still kind of ranging though, so again, be careful. Yeah, I would just be careful with that. With the expected bullish dollar and one more rate hike, I think it's probably, you know, wise to assume that this is now our area, and who knows, maybe this will lead to us tapping back into this supply zone, or rather the demand zone that's right here. Let me push this out just a little bit further. But this is kind of a long-term demand zone that's been on my chart for a while. If we are to remain bullish on Euro, we would need to see a reaction out of here, and then further upside. But this is the current trade idea coming into this week. It's kind of an OTE, I think, trade setup, right? Broke back up into this supply zone. Let's mark it out. And we can even follow that up with an extension just to see. I'm curious where this lands on our Fibonacci. Cool. There we are. There it is. But we have, you know, again, yeah, right at the 6187. So we're right into that OTE area. Optimal trade entry. It's kind of an ICT concept, right? But we're really just looking for a pullback. I love it when a fib does line up with our supply or demand zones. But again, we're gonna have to see a swing low put in. If you're curious what I mean by that is, it essentially is created by 3 candles, right? We have a let's find one that's like super clean for us. Yeah. So here's a swing low, guys. 3 candles, right? I'm often talking about 3 candles, right? When we're talking fair value gaps, we're talking about 3 candles. We're talking about swing lows, we're talking about 3 candles. Price closed down here, pushed lower, came up, right? Here's one low, lower low, higher low, right? So this 3rd candle didn't break this low right here. So therefore, we have a swing low, right? Same kind of thing happens all over the place. Happened here. Here's pushed high, higher high, and then a low, right? So here is our swing high put in, and they're not always as clean as this, right? Here's a very clean one. But things like that usually are pretty good indicators as far as where price is heading next, right? So we had one right here, high, pushed up a little beyond. So we have 1, 2, 3 candles rounding out that swing high. So I want to see a swing low put in, followed by a push up into that supply zone. Oh, further downside. Now we do have this right here. I don't think it's particularly strong. I'm gonna get rid of it. It does kind of line up with that -27 extension, but all right, that's enough of the euro. That's what we're looking at. GBP USD is probably looking very similar in a lot of ways. Yeah, big sells on that happened. Let's jump out to our weekly. And again, yeah, this is still bullish order flow, I think. Yeah. Boom. Yeah, we're close though. Look at, I mean, I kind of look at this as a swing low right here. We did have this push up, pull back, 1, 2, 3 candles, creating this little swing low up into this supply zone, which did line up with the 786. So, man, that actually that could be a leading indicator. Honestly, sometimes certain charts will lead. So we haven't broke it yet. We haven't closed, but I do want to see it close below that or something. But that's, you know, that's looking like we're going to pull back a little harder than the euro is. But again, on our higher time frame, this is a weekly chart. Yeah, it seems like we kind of pushed up into this supply zone and are rejecting it a bit. So keep your eyes on that. Again, I think there's expected dollar strength and another rate increase. So yeah, that would be my guess for your Usdcad. Pushing right up, pushed into this imbalance in this supply zone. But again, I think we're bullish on this overall. This is a very strong reaction. We had this swing high right here, 1, 2, 3, followed by a swing low, 1, 2, 3, and then a further push up. So I think I would still be looking at longs for USD-CAD. We just need to get a pullback of some kind. You know, I don't know if it's a deeper pullback or what. I haven't traded this. I traded it once like 2 weeks ago. That's a nice little tap into that demand zone right there. But yeah, I'm not certain on this chart actually at the moment. If anybody out there watches this and you got an idea of what's going to go on with USD-CAD, I think we're long on it. But honestly, this does not look particularly clear to me. There's liquidity below these points right here, stop losses, etc. So I think it's possible that, yeah, came back in, touched this demand zone, pushed up again, broke this high. Yeah, with the understanding that price can break down in order to move up, right? Just because it breaks down doesn't mean it's bearish. But we have this demand zone right here that has not been touched. So I'm not saying I'm going to trade this, but this would be a potential thing I'm looking at going into the week. But we'll just have to see if we do get a proper shift in the market right here on a lower time frame, like a 15-minute, 30-minute, something like that. I would be looking for longs on that. And UJ has been like the easy long, and I'm kicking myself because I just don't trade it. But it's been so obvious. But it's here. I would like to talk about like just how easy trading. Like literally, I didn't trade this, but I think it'd be well worth looking at like just how easy trading can be sometimes. Like when the market shows itself, it shows its hand, and it gives you something impulsive like this candle right here. Literally, it's just it's as easy as 1, 2, 3, y'all. As easy as 1, 2, 3. Let me show you. Like it. Maybe jump down to our 30-minute real quick. Here's what the market gave us on UJ. And here's what I mean by as easy as 1, 2, 3. And it's literally, we have this impulse, right? We broke a previous high. Boom, there's one. What did it leave us? It left us a demand zone right here. There's two. And you can go about this a couple ways. You can look for confirmation on a lower time frame, or you can set an order. And I know a lot of people do this. I'm usually looking for confirmation, just depends, but this is just how simple trading can be, right? Our order flow right here, this is bullish order flow. Here's our high, broke the high, pulled back, boom, took off. Then what did it do? There's one, pulled back into our demand zone. There's two, could have set our order. There's three, and it takes off again, right? So we got 1, 2, and then 3 right here. I think I had this marked out. I just didn't trade it. And it was one of those things where I looked back at the end of the week and went, dang, I should have just placed an order. Should have just set an order, you know, kind of set and forget. Not always the worst thing to be doing or thinking about, but it literally, guys, as easy as 1, 2, 3. Again, just to reiterate how easy this is. 1, demand zone, 1, impulse. 2, demand zone. 3, entry. So 1 to 4, 4.22. Could have got even more if we wanted to target something higher. My guess is, yeah, we're going to continue to move up. From there, we probably could have targeted, I mean, we could have been targeting these highs, right? Just looking at the 4 hour, we could have been targeting over there real quick because it did move quick. And generally, I mean, JPY, I mean, the Bank of Japan's not tightening their monetary policy. So let's see if we can find any more like that. Like, I wonder, like, that was one I was looking at, and I was thinking, oh, dude, easy as 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Here we go. Same thing, guys, over and over and over again. Check it. As easy as 1, 2, 3, right? Here was our previous high. Okay. Boom. Impulse right here. See this green candle? Broke over. There's 1. There's your impulse. 2. Here is your demand zone. And yeah, it broke it a little bit. And there are some out there. I know there's some guys that say, no, that's your demand zone. Draw it however you want. Generally, I think it's accepted that it's that last down candle before the impulse. That's fine. And a lot of people will leave, leave a couple pips for absorption, right? Because demand zones can be violated and still continue. Just something to keep in mind. But hypothetically, I mean, this was your trade right there. And you would target previous highs, right? So not crazy, 1 to 2. Or if you're looking at that 4-hour time frame, then we're kind of up here in this area, so 1 to 3. But again, it's literally that same concept. 1, impulse. 2, demand or supply zone. 3, trade entry. It can be so simple, guys. I think there's this tendency, I think it's like a human thing, right? Where we just want to overcomplicate it, where we look at a strategy, right? People trade all sorts of strategies. Trend lines, Fibonacci's, I've seen all sorts of, those bat things, what are they called? Harmonics, right? Whatever like it is. And there's a lot of smart money or ICT guys that look at it and they go, oh yeah, it's like too dumb. Or somebody coming into the market that doesn't understand the market, right? They look at a very simple strategy and they think that is too easy. It can't be true, right? And so they want to go for the complicated strategy with, all the bells and whistles, like 20 indicators and all those weird things, right? Because they think it has to be complicated in order for this to be a good trading system, right? It can't be easy, but that's not true. Trading can be so simple. People that literally trade just trend lines are making money trading. People trading harmonics, people trading straight up Fibonacci or literally just ranges, right? It doesn't have to be complicated. And that's one of those things I want to push home today is it could be easy as 1, 2, and 3, right? As easy as 1, 2, 3. There's a lot to learn out there in the markets. Don't overcomplicate it. If something looks easy, go ahead and try it. Like, it doesn't have to be complicated. All right, that's enough of UJ. I would expect pullbacks coming into this week, potentially. Or, well, I mean, it's kind of inverse of the euro. So if we can get that pullback in euro, then I would expect a pullback. I mean, even on a higher time frame, look at this, guys. So hypothetically, here's our impulse. Here's our demand zone on a 4-hour large time frame. So we could get a pullback into here with further continuation higher. That would be the expectation. So we'll see coming into this week what's going to happen. Let's look at NAS real quick. Okay, so I started trading NAS this week. Never traded it before. Casper, he goes by Casper SMC, threw out this video talking about an ICT silver bullet strategy for NAS 100. I've been thinking about NAS. If you watched other videos, it's one of those pairs I was looking at, like, dang, dude, like it looks so clean, but I didn't understand like the stop losses and the position sizing for it. Like I just didn't get it right. I'm used to like euro and all these things where it's like 1 knot or 1 point, etc. Right? But this is like, okay, 15,196.4, and I'm like, what? Don't know what that means. Anyways, I found a great position size calculator on this, which I'll try and share at a later time. But I had that in mind watching Casper's video about this silver bullet thing, but it's a 5-minute strategy. And I thought, okay, well, and it doesn't happen until I'm in California, so it wouldn't happen until 7 a.m., right? Which is perfect, right? Because I'm up at 4:30 to trade New York session, so I'm looking for euro opportunities during that time. Right, just coming out of London, I'm looking for those euro opportunities. So I thought, okay, so, well, 7, that's 30 minutes after NYSE open, and I can find a trade on NASDAQ during that time. So that's precisely what I did. And it worked 1 out of the 2 times. And then the 3rd time would have worked, but I just missed it, right? I think that was an idea. But this is the one. Let me see if I can. Is it the one? What day was this? Tuesday? Yeah, right here. So let's just look at this strategy really quick. See if I can't find, what is this? 7 in the morning. Where are we at here? 1 second. was this guy right here. Yeah. So this guy worked out. This is on Wednesday. Tuesday I was looking at it. Wednesday I actually got this trade in. So I've talked a lot about fair value gaps. I keep mentioning them, and we all know what they are. I actually didn't make the full 2% on this. I closed out most of it, and then it just came up and stopped me break even. Casper recommends just set your stop loss, set your entry, set your stop loss, set your take profit, set it and forget it, right? I'm partial to that. I do like those ideas, but here's what's going on, right? After 7, we're looking for that first, actually I posted this on my Instagram too. I was just looking for a break out of this little sideways range going on here. So the strategy essentially is we're looking for a fair value gap, the first fair value gap after the 7 a.m. And I think this is good till 1. I think he says 4 p.m. New York time, so it'd be 1 p.m. our time. So here's 7. And I was just looking for that first fair value gap to happen. So I sat a while, looking for this, and then, excuse me, had this candle, and then this third candle, and it left us with a fair value gap. Now, I know it doesn't look like I hit the entry here on my MT5. I'm taking a challenge with that, and for whatever reason, on the MT5, the challenge, it actually did tap this in on this candle right here. I don't know why it doesn't show it here. I guess just different brokers, etc., whatever. But this one actually did get tapped in. So I think I made like a little over 1% on it. I didn't take the full 2%, like I said. But essentially we had this fair value gap right in here. And what you're looking for when that gap is created is price to roll back into, here, let me fix that. Oops. All right, so essentially what you're looking for is price to pull back into this fair value gap. So instead of going 50% or what's called like consequent encroachment into this fair value gap, you're just looking for price to kind of pull up right into that, the top of that fair, or the bottom of that gap, depending on what side of the market you're on. And you're looking for a solid 1 to 2. You're not looking for anything more than that. You're not looking for order blocks. You're not looking for anything like that. You're just looking for a solid 1 to 2. So for what happened for me on that challenge account through Skilled Funded Trader, it actually did push up, barely tapped me in, and then went down right here. So again, like, I'm not sure why it doesn't show right there, but it doesn't. So that was a win, and then I had a loss. This one I didn't even get. Look at, I didn't even get in on this one. In hindsight, I see what happened, right? After 7, here was our first fair value gap. I had set this right here. This is what I was looking for, is price to kind of come up, boom, tap me in, didn't do it. What it did is it continued on and created this fair value gap right here. And then that's actually where it came back up, tapped in, and you probably could have done something like this, right? Had you been tapped in here, you would, I'm sorry, and I should say the stop loss goes over the first candle. So here, there's 1, 2, 3 candles. Your stop loss would go over this candle right here, right? And then you're looking for a solid, just a 1 to 2. So that's, it didn't hit that first fair value gap. It actually just continued and hit the second fair value gap and then continued on. So maybe a little lesson to learn there. Like if it misses the first one and creates a second one, that might be a good place to start looking, but that would have been a good trade as well. But there was one that I don't have any of my stuff marked here, guys. Sorry. Yeah. So this is it. Price pushed up. Here's the 7 o'clock candle. It did create this gap, but that doesn't count because that was before 7. Pushed up, created this little fair value gap right here. You can't barely see it. Let me mark it out for you. This the tiniest of little fair value gaps. So that's, I put my order there and my stop below the candle, and it just pushed through. Okay, so I lost that, right? And then what happened? Price went bearish. And so what I tried to do is 1, 2, 3, I missed it. Where did I miss it? Yeah, I just wasn't quick. That's what it was. Okay, sorry, I had to think about that one for a second. Essentially, price shifted, and I just wasn't quick enough, right? This is pretty obviously, boom, that kind of pushed right through and was looking bearish. So what I should have done is just adjusted. 1, 2, 3. There's a fair value gap. Stop would have been above here, and I would have just gone targeted a 1 to 2, right? Something like that. And it's crazy how accurate that actually is, right? If I'd been quick on my feet to see that, that would have been a solid 1 to 2. So I missed it. That's okay. Whatever. You're not going to get it every time. But yeah, so missed that one, lost one, and then had a great one. That first one was awesome. So that's it for NAS. That's a cool little strategy. I think I'm going to keep that one in the bag, and that'll be one of the strategies I add to my playbook. Let's look at BTC real quick, and I'm just going to just look at the weekly. I don't think we need to really scale in. I don't trade this. Like I said in previous streams, I'm really just looking to hold longer term, scale out on bull runs, and accumulate during the bear market. But looks like we're rejecting right there. So I'm kind of expecting further downside, at least into the 2600 level. ETH. Yeah, I don't know. We're just kind of choppy. We're kind of moving sideways. So nothing big, I don't think, yet on this. But we'll have to see. If we get a solid push above that, then we'll see. Otherwise, I think we're coming down. XRP, yeah, I think that this is profit taking. Everybody's coming down. I think we're definitely heading back down into the 40, below the sub 50s for sure. In the near term, Hbar. I just think honestly on Hbar, Casper, these are all just in great ranges. ADA, where I could see more downside for ADA. 20-cent region, that'd be nice. I'd start buying there personally, but this is not financial advice. Let's look at Casper one more time. Yeah, so we're just rejecting, like on a lower time frame. This is a high that we're being capped by that. So I would expect to come lower back into maybe the 3.5-cent region on that. And again, this is just kind of wicks to the top side, touching into this supply zone right here. So yeah, we could just be heading back into our 40-cent region, or rather 4-cent region. My apologies. We'll see what's going on there. And then Quant. I know my buddy's gonna want me to talk about Quant. Is this Quant? Nah, hold on. Quant. USD. Nah. What's the ticker for Quant, guys? I'm trying to figure out why it's not in my Quant. Yeah, that'd be fine. There we go. Cool. 101. Yeah, I think that's looks like it's holding right here. Honestly, just looks like we're holding this level right here. We have to hold this level and start pushing above if we want to see higher. If we want to see a push to at least 160 for Quant. If we can get above 110.65, basically, if we can get above that, then we'll see higher prices on that 160s. If we do not, if we just break below, I think this is kind of our floor right here, and I would just expect to see price to come down to here. This is probably our demand zone right here. In the it's just a long way to go. But you know how crypto moves. When it moves, it moves fast. So that's what I'm looking at. If we can't break above, then we're going to break below and then just come down to the anywhere from $50 to $65 region. So again, my eyes this week are on Euro USD. I want to see what we're going to do with this. Are we going to kind of break this level, dip into here? We do have a bit of a fair value gap. I'll mark that out really quick for you guys. I did not mention it when I was going through that, but right here is a little bit of a fair value gap that we could kind of come back in and tap into this demand zone. But we need to see some bullish price action in there in order to continue longs on Euro. Otherwise, I think we're just going to look for sells. So anyways, that is it for the King's Capital. God bless you guys. If you have any questions, hit me up. YouTube, you obviously found me if you're watching this video. Instagram at TheKingsCapital, and Twitter at TheKingsCap. If you have any questions, let me know. If you want me to look at any charts, let me know. Otherwise, like, subscribe, do all the things. Let's try and build this up, y'all. All right. Thank you again. Peace.